Okay, so the inverse function is one of a whole bunch of functions that you can do with equations or functions. The identity function, go through them, most, not all. I'm going to go through a lot of them, and you'll see how basic they are. And you also will see that the best one, or the most useful, or the coolest one is the inverse function. Okay, so the identity function just says f of x is x. It is itself. The square function, oh my goodness, I put x here. It's supposed to be f of x equals x squared. You just square it. Cube function is f of x equals x cubed. You cube it. Like I said, not that original. Square root function, f of x equals the square root of x. Cube root function, f of x equals the cube root of x. Reciprocal function, f of x equals 1 over x. Absolute value function, f of x equals the absolute value of x. The inverse function, you just can't write that just like this, but the notation would be f of inverse of x. Okay, so to find the inverse, you have, let's see, say we have f of x, the function equals 2x plus 3. To find the inverse, you substitute f of x for y. Like the answer after you do all that stuff equals y. So you substitute f of x equals y, and you write it again. Now you're going to switch places with the x and the y and solve again for y. So instead of y equals 2x plus 3, I have x equals 2y plus 3. And now I'm going to solve for y as if it was normal. I'll take the minus x of this to the right side. 0 equals 2y plus 3 minus x. Then I'm going to move the 3 and the minus x. Why did I do that? Well, anyway, I'm going to move them back to the left side. The minus 3 and plus x. Minus 3 and plus x over here. And I'm going to switch places because I like to have my y stuff on the left side. The thing I'm solving for, my brain works best when it's on the left side. The 2y equals x minus 3. Just put the x in front of the 3. Now divide by 2. Both sides divide by 2. You get y equals x minus 3 over 2. And this is the inverse function. Tell me that's not cool. Okay, so we have another one. F of x equals 2x plus 1 over x minus 1. To find the inverse function, I'm going to substitute y equals 2x plus 1 over x minus 1. I'm going to switch the x and the y places. So now I'm going to have x equals 2y plus 1 over y minus 1. And then to solve that, I'm going to do x over 1. No. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Cross multiply. This times this, and this times this. So I don't want to deal with those fractions. So x times y minus 1 equals 2y plus 1. Multiply this out. This distribute this x through here. I want to solve for y. So I'm going to bring everything with the y to one side. So minus xy minus xy minus x equals 2y minus xy plus 1. Move this to the other side. Minus x minus 1 equals 2y minus xy. Space. On this side, the right side here, I'm going to factor out the y. Leaves me with 2 minus x. On this side, I'm going to factor out a minus 1 because it looks good. Now I have minus 1 times x plus 1 equals y times 2 minus x. I'm going to divide this side by y. No, sorry. You forgot what you were doing. I'm going to divide this side by 2 minus x because I want the y by itself. Now I have minus 1 times x plus 1 over, factor out another minus 1. Equals y. So y equals, I will cancel the minus 1s. X plus 1 over x minus 2. That is my inverse function. Okay, f of x equals 3 minus 2x. Find the inverse. I'm going to substitute the f of x for y. I have y equals 3 minus 2x. I'm going to switch the x with the y. So I have x equals 3 minus 2y. And I want to get the y by itself. So I'll do minus 3, minus 3. And x minus 3 equals minus 2y. I don't like that. So I'm going to just multiply the whole thing by minus 1. Just change the sign of everybody there. So my 2y becomes positive. Minus x plus 3 equals just 2y. So we have 2y equals minus x plus 3. Divide by 2, both sides. I end up with y equals minus x plus 3 over 2. And that is my inverse function. I didn't like that. Okay, so wait. Let me take another minus, let all the minus x there. Do it again. I'm going to substitute, take out the minus, and put x minus 3 over 2. So it looks just, I don't think you have to do that, but it just looks a little cleaner. So my inverse function is minus x minus 3 over 2. Okay, and the inverse, f of x equals 2x plus 6. I substitute y for f of x. Then I switch my x and y's. So I have x equals 2y plus 6. Take my 6 to the other side. X minus 6 equals 2y. Switch the sides, but not mess with the value any. It's totally legal. And divide by 2 both sides because I want to get the y by itself. Y equals x minus 6 over 2 is my inverse function. F of x equals x minus 2 squared. The inverse function, I will substitute y for the f of x. Then I'll switch my x and y positions. Then I'll solve for y. Since I have y minus 2 squared, I'm going to do the opposite of squaring, which is the square root. Square root this side and square this side. So I have the square root of x equals y minus 2. I want y by itself. I'm going to move the minus 2. So I have square root of x plus 2 equals y. Now I'm just going to switch entire sides. This will go over here. And this will go over there. So y equals the square root of x plus 2. And that is my inverse function. F of x equals x cubed minus 8, because not every time it's x squared. I substitute f of x for y equals x cubed minus 8. I switch positions with the x and the y. So x equals y cubed minus 8. I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite. Actually, wait, let me move the 8 first. Yeah, I can move the 8 first. I can get y by itself. Plus 8 to the other side. X plus 8 equals y cubed, or y cubed equals x plus 8. And now I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of cubing, which is the cube root. So now the y is a free person, equals cube root of x plus 8, and that is my inverse function. F of x equals 3x. I'm going to substitute y for the f of x. Switch positions with the x and the y. Then solve for y, so I'll divide 3 by both sides. X over 3 equals y, or y equals x over 3 is my inverse function. So f of x equals x. I substitute my y equals for f of x. And switch positions with my x and y. And then I solve for y. What the heck? No, I didn't do anything. Okay. So y equals x, that's the same thing. So my inverse function is the same thing. Because there's nothing to really do with the x, it's just the x.